News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moskow.
Karen, we begin with geopolitics. Tensions are heating up once again between the U.S. and China as Beijing threatens further retaliatory measures against U.S. curbs on its shipping sector. Beijing announced the move after the U.S. Trade Representative began an investigation into China's maritime industry. We get the very latest from Bloomberg's Jill Desis in Hong Kong.
This is an escalation in what really has been a long-standing dispute between both the U.S. and China over maritime dominance. We've really seen several months ago, the U.S. announced U.S. port fees for Chinese ships that were coming into those ports, amounting to the tune of millions of dollars of potential fees. Those set to go into effect this week. We've also seen these two countries really kind of trade tit for tat, sort of retaliatory measures against each other over the last several days, even involving some trade, particularly when it comes on the China side to some new export curbs they were placing on materials related to rare earths issues, and then now, obviously, you're seeing a lot of this kind of snowball into what's happening on the shipping front.
Bloomberg's Jill Desis in Hong Kong says the dispute has consequences for the global economy. Vessels are involved in 80% of worldwide trade.
Adding to the tensions between the U.S. and China, Nathan, words from Scott Bessent. The Financial Times is reporting that Treasury Secretary has accused China of trying to hurt the world's economy. This comes after Beijing imposed sweeping export controls on rare earths and critical minerals. The paper says Bessent is expecting to meet Chinese Vice Premier Li Feng one more time before Trump and Xi meet in South Korea later this month.
Well, Karen, President Trump is back in Washington now after a whirlwind trip to the Middle East, where he celebrated the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and laid out a broader vision for Middle East peace.
After years of suffering and bloodshed, the war in Gaza is over. Humanitarian aid is now pouring in, including hundreds of truckloads of food and medical equipment and other supplies, much of it paid for by people in this room.
President Trump spoke to more than a dozen world leaders at a signing ceremony in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, but challenges remain for maintaining the peace. Stuart Livingston-Wallace leads Bloomberg's Middle East coverage.
You have that international pressure, but also you potentially have boots on the ground. And while the U.S. is deploying, I think, something like 200 personnel within Israel to monitor the ceasefire, they have no intention of actually going into Gaza itself. So that probably has to be an international force. Number two, money. It is going to cost an enormous amount of money to rebuild Gaza. I mean, let alone clearing the rubble, then you have to start again. That money has to come from somewhere, and I think the hope is that a lot of that will come in particular from the Gulf region.
Bloomberg's Stuart Livingston-Wallace reports other points of President Trump's 20-point peace plan remain unclear, like disarming Hamas, but the president predicts they will happen.
Elsewhere in Washington, Nathan, it is now day 14 of the government shutdown. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is calling Democrats back to Capitol Hill today in a show of solidarity, even though they won't have anything to work on. Speaker Mike Johnson has canceled vote for a third week in a row and is keeping his members in their districts.
Our members are doing very productive work. We're in constant communication with them, and we are ready to come back and continue the work in our committees and everything on the House floor. We will return to legislative session as soon as the Democrats come to their senses and open the government.
That was House Speaker Mike Johnson on Capitol Hill. And as the shutdown continues, members of the military are set to miss their first paychecks tomorrow. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent told Fox Business his agency is prioritizing payments to ensure service members get paid. Past Treasury secretaries have questioned whether it's possible to set aside some payments over others outside a fight over raising the debt ceiling. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moskow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.